Hi and welcome in this newest tutorial. Today I'm gonna show you how exactly am I using the cast from mold 490, which is the beautiful monster mold from Art for Start. And it's a very versatile mold and I use it for a lot of my projects because I can create so many different shapes and form and additions that are very working perfectly with my Druzy, and they're a perfect addition. And usually I'm working with leftovers and I'm working a lot with the transparent resin, so I'm putting all of my leftovers in this mold, and it really doesn't matter which side of the mold you are covering. And it's a very good idea if you want to break those little parts. It's a very good idea to not cast it very high, because if you cast it very high you will have pieces and chunks that are not really easily breakable, like the big piece that you see on the right side of the video. It's so thick that it's really hard to break it apart. That's why I'm usually casting just above the edge of each and every of those little shapes and forms to just keep them connected but easy to break apart to little pieces. And I'm usually doing it within like 12 hours. I'm not waiting too long. Usually when I'm making any project one day, I'm putting the leftovers in the mold, and next day I'm taking it out of the mold and I'm breaking them apart into smaller pieces that I'm gonna use later in my Druzy formations. And I'm gonna show you some examples at the end, so stay tuned to see more. But I'm showing you here how many different variations are coming from just one mold. And this is the thicker version that was not easy for me to break apart because it was casted very thick, but it's still fine. If I will work on a bigger project, bigger canvas, I'm gonna use it. And I really love this mold because it's a perfect base that it's gonna peek through underneath the Druzy. It's a perfect base to hold the crystals a little bit higher, and I love to build my Druzy hearts and my geode hearts and my geode formations on top of them. And I always use hot glue to actually attach them to the canvases to make sure that they're properly secured, and also to make sure that the resin is not floating underneath them. So I'm gonna show you just a couple of more casts that are examples of what you can actually get from just one mold. And this is the beauty of this mold. You don't need a lot of different molds to cast different parts, different shapes. And really I love to always work with the crystals on every and each of my geodes, and I always work with the Druzy as well. So those formations are just perfect to have this a little bit of luxury touch and a little bit of beautiful crystal-like formations, but they are also very light because you cast them from resin, so they are very light, and therefore they're making your projects a little bit lighter than when you use glass or stones and crystals. And it's also very important, especially in the functional art, because you don't want this art to be very heavy, especially when you are working on leads. So I found them very beautiful and very useful, and this is my absolutely must-have for all of my creations. They're a just perfect match with the Druzy. There is like match made in heaven. And this is the example of my mix and match mini selection. This specific artwork is already sold and it's not available, but you can see the example of how I built the Druzy and the amethyst on top of this. This is where I use it in the beauty box in Geode style together with Druzy and clear quartz, and you can see how beautiful it's matching with the clear quartz. And this is also another project that I did with it. This is the kitchen glass jars, and I use this as a base as well. And if you want to see exactly which shapes and form I was using and choosing. You can see the tutorials on my YouTube channel, and you can learn a lot about how to use them in the artwork. And yeah, just stay tuned and subscribe to the channel if you want to see a lot of tips on the geode art creation, and if you want to see how I'm using those highlights in my projects and how I'm building them together, the formation together with Druzy and together with the crystals.